So what are the most critical preference settings you should have toggled on or off in Quicken Classic for Mac when you get started? If you want the answer to that question, stick with me here. Hey there, Joe DeSanto here, fractional CFO and business manager, but also this person on YouTube trying to help all individuals get and keep their financial act together. Thanks for joining me in another video here. So let's just get right into it and start looking at the settings pane of Quicken Classic for Mac. And I try to be very deliberate these days about which version I'm using because Quicken has lots of different versions and it can be confusing. But I'm in Quicken Classic for Mac. So here we go. We're in the Quicken Classic for Mac settings window, and I'm just going to point out things, the most important things for you to have on. I'm not going to go over everything. So under this, let's start with General. Over here, I would have this on, try out new Quicken features for the release, specifically because I like this new feature, auto review, mark updated transactions as reviewed. I don't even know why this took so long to get inserted, but this is important. It helps your transactions lose the blue dot after you edit them, because clearly if you've edited them, you've reviewed them, and they shouldn't show as new transactions anymore. So there's that. This one here is related to your report. Do you want your report to show the long string of your categories, if you use categories and subcategories or not? This one you can play with. I keep on the long one at the beginning, and then you might want to make it shorter if you don't like the way the reports look. Transfers, this is important. Have this on, allow creation of link transfers using category field. I have whole videos on transfers. Transfers often confuse people. The Mac introduced a new way to handle transfers versus kind of the original solo way. I won't get into all the details, but I would have this on because if you're watching some of my other videos, it's going to assume you have this on. Splits, I like this automatically shows splits in the register, especially at the beginning, because it helps you see more clearly what you're doing. And actually right behind this window, this is what that is in the register. If you break your transaction down into multiple categories in the splits, it kind of shows that when you click on the transaction. Okay, what else is important here? Mark reconciled transactions as reviewed, and that's kind of a little bit related to this first one down here. That's not hugely critical, but I like to have that on. And this says include accounts that automatically reconcile new downloaded transactions. I'm going to have that off. Frankly, I don't even know exactly what that's referring to, but I don't like to have anything on in Quicken where I tell it to automatically go do stuff without me verifying that it's doing it correctly. Because Quicken does a lot, tries to do a lot to save you time. Most of the time it gets it right. Sometimes it gets it wrong. The moment it gets it wrong, it undoes all the time it saved you because you got to figure it out. So I'll stop that whole digression there. Okay, let's see. Register toolbar always show. This one, automatically create rule when I correct a payee name. So this is important because your downloaded pay info or the bank gobbledygook that comes through, that's what Quicken uses, as kind of baseline info. And if you go change that, like for example, you go to the supermarket and it's like X supermarket store number 4351 gobbledygook, you change it to just supermarket because that helps you Quicken be more organized. It will create a rule based on that, and it'll apply that rule going forward. But here it says, do you want to apply it to existing and future transactions or just future transactions? I'm going to say until you get comfortable with Quicken, have this be on just future transactions. Because if you accidentally do something wrong and it changes everything behind you in time that you've entered, you might be annoyed by that. Okay, automatically create a rule when I edit a transaction. Yes, I would have this on, but again, we're going to limit this sub thing to category only. So renaming rules and categorization rules are helpful because they help Quicken do more work for you over time, but you do have to train Quicken well in order for it to get more than not correct. This is saying, hey, whenever I have that supermarket transaction come through, categorize it to groceries. There are other fields you can automatically have it adjust, but I'm going to say keep it simple and category only. Okay, the sidebar here, we're going to have this be highlighted accounts with unreviewed transactions. Because if you have it on just new, if you do a download and it brings in new transactions versus the last download, but you haven't updated those, it's going to unhighlight those and you're going to not know you didn't update them. So that's what's important there. Over here, not too much. Backup, this is important. We're going to have it back up your database file every time you close Quicken. So I have automatically create a local backup when quitting Quicken. This is important because a lot of people just leave Quicken open on their computer, and that backup doesn't happen if you don't close Quicken. So get in the habit of closing the application after you're done using it. Over here, you can choose it to purge, files after 5 if you want, or you can have 5 versions and then it purges, or 10 or whatever. I do 5. The backup folder, I would just leave that as the default for now until you get more clued in on Quicken in general. This, by the way, if you want to set a password for your file, meaning you open Quicken, it goes and opens your database file, which by the way is, you can see the name of here. It prompts you for a password to get into the file. This would be good if you have multiple people using the same computer. Maybe you don't want your kids to get into your personal finances or anybody. If you put a password on the access to the data, that will help with that. So, I have passwords set on all my files. This is just an example file I use, so I don't have it on there, but you could do that. Connected services, I have a whole video on what the whole mobile and web thing is related to the classic versions of Quicken. Go check that out. It'll explain this a little bit better. But that's what some of this stuff is, the ID in Quicken Cloud. I'm not going to get into that. But on this page, automatically improves the quality of download page names and categories. I have that toggled off because, again, Quicken tries hard to help you and make things fast, but it doesn't get it right all the time. So anything you let it do completely automatically without any supervision can end up, causing you grief. Unfortunately, the AI embedded in Quicken is not awesome yet. But the same is true for QuickBooks and in any personal finance. There's just too many nuances in different people's personal finances to have Quicken get it right all the time. Okay, and use post-to-date for match transactions. That's good. We won't get into why. This one doesn't matter if it's on or off. Doesn't matter that much. Okay, over here, mobile and web. Again, I have this video on mobile and web that explains it, but go watch that. But just in the interim, keep it off. It'll save you some time. And then over here, you can turn these off if you want to get messages. So there you go. But before I let you go, I want to remind you that I have a course on Quicken called Quicken Mastery that obviously takes you through everything in Quicken, beginner to advanced. It also comes with my Quicken database starter template, which automatically sets you up with my Quicken categories. So if you watch my videos and you like my categories, they'll be in there for you if you use my template. So check that out. But also, if you're trying to get, your financial act together and learn personal finance just on the whole, check out my Personal Finance Mastery course. It, of course, includes Quicken and the whole concept of tracking your finances. That's one of my, parts of my 5-part framework. But it also includes planning for your future, investing, income generation, and tax efficiency and tax savings. So check that out. Links below. I appreciate you joining me in another video. I'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.